Hi. Okay, so now I'm going to explain the Archimedes Principle. Okay. First, we have the statement: this is any object that is immersed in a fluid has an upward force that is equal to the weight of the displaced fluid. Just remember that this upward force is the one that we call the buoyant force. Okay. And the buoyant force is that force that will push something up, well, upward in the fluid or in the liquid. And it's calculated like this: you got the density of the fluid times the volume times the acceleration of the gravity. Remember that we are taking account that the volume of the immersed object is equal to the displaced, the volume of the fluid displaced. Okay. Okay. So just remember that we're using the density, the volume, and the gravity. Okay. And we also need to know another fact here, that is the weight of the objects. Okay, because that's something in which it will depend if the object sinks or floats. Okay, and remember that the weight is calculated like this: it's the mass times the acceleration of the gravity that we use 9.8 meters per square second. Okay, once that we have both data, okay, we only have to compare the buoyant force and the weight of the object. If the buoyant force is greater than the weight, then the object floats. Okay, but if the buoyant force is not strong enough, let's say like that, to push the object out of the water or out of the liquid or the fluid, and then it will sink. Okay, so that's in the case in which the buoyant force is lower than the the weight. Okay, so just remember something here, guys. Okay, um, as we were using the same data for the gravity, and we're taking in account that the volume of the object that is immersed in a fluid, when it is entirely immersed, um, is equal to the displaced fluid. That means that we're taking into account that these two data will be the same when an object is entirely introduced or immersed in the liquid. So that means that we can only compare this. Okay, that could be the density of the object and the density of the fluid. That's something in which the force will depend on the weight, and the force, okay, will depend on that. That means that if you have a high, well, if the density of an object that is entirely immersed in a liquid is lower than the density of the liquid, of the fluid, then the object will float. Okay, but if the density of the object is higher than the density of the fluid, then that object will sink. Okay, that's something that we should know. Okay, just remember that we're saying density, like calculating the density, that's dividing the mass of the entire object by the volume. Okay, even if it is a balloon that is filled with air, you need to take into account all the volume of the balloon, okay, when it's entirely inflated. Anyway, so that's everything that I have to explain for Archimedes principle, and that's all. Okay, so goodbye.